Lovely. So 30-minute sports yoga. We're going to be moving through some spinal articulation, which is basically sending the body in as many healthy directions as possible. Some warm-ups to get some warmth into the body. We'll be moving through some hamstring movements and some stability, as always. You might find it helpful to have a strap or a belt to hand. That might be a handy thing to have, but no great shakes if not. So let's start with our rising up onto the balls of the feet and then back onto the heels. So a great way to just bring some movement into the body. Oh, you can tell it's been a while for me. I'm doing a headless yogi. Lovely. So rising up onto the balls of the feet and then back onto the heels. And then we're going to start to sit back. So rising up and then sit back, but not as far as we possibly can. Rising up and then back to the point just before we start to stick the bum out. So we're starting to feel that maybe across the front of the shins here. So rather than being a squat, this is ankle mobility. Lovely. And then we're going to start to come out to the outside edges. A little bit of love into the soles of the feet. They don't get enough love. Circling round. Let that movement travel. Start to find that kind of spaghetti sensation into the legs, into the hips, into the ribs. Get loose. Loosen up. Let it go. Channel your inner Elsa. Lovely. We're going to reach the right hand all the way up. And then reach the left hand all the way up. And then turn this into a side reach. So the right hand reaches up as the left hand slides down. Lovely. Let's reverse that on the other side. Really nice. Now let's find some rotation. So hands onto the shoulders. And we're going to slowly turn to one side and slowly turn to the other. Really nice. Release the hands, chin to the chest. Let's roll down. Head is heavy, knees are soft. Come down to wherever you come to. It might be just down to your knees or maybe towards toes, doesn't matter. And then rolling back up. Head is heavy, shoulders heavy, restacking each vertebra. Let's do one more there. Head stacks on top of the neck, chin to the chest. Roll down, release to gravity. Lovely. From here, making our way onto seated. So, into lying, sorry. So lying down onto the back. Really nice. Fingers interlace, hands behind the head. And we're going to use the hands to lift chin to the chest. So we know that we're not doing a crunch here. Shoulders stay down, just stretching into the back of the neck. Chin to the chest, stretch across the back of the neck. Let's do one last one there. Connect with the breath. Exhaling, chin to the chest. Lovely. And then from here, feet nice and wide. Hands can come to wherever's comfortable. Feet nice and wide. Let the knees drop to one side. Breathing in through center as they drop to the other. Lovely. Couple more movements here. As we do this, feel that shift across the lower back, into the SI joint, into the lumbar spine, and across the soles of the feet. Lovely. When we've done the same amount on both sides, no rush. Bring the feet in slightly closer together. So reach the arms away. Thriller. So drop the wrists, zombie hands. Reach the backs of the palms up towards the ceiling and then drop shoulder blades back into the ground. Reach, reach, reach. And then shoulder blades back in like a mini massage from the inside out to the shoulder blades. Lovely. Hands come down to wherever's comfortable. We're going to find that arch into the lower back, and I'm going to tilt the camera again. Lovely. So we're going to arch into the lower back. Lift lower back only. Exhale to point the tailbone down. So finding that hinge into the lower back. And I've been doing some advanced postnatal training recently, and the pelvis is just blowing my little mind. It really is. So I often talk about it being the kind of spaghetti junction of the body. It really is. It is where we hold the most force through the body. It's that point at which everything kind of hinges in and out, as I often talk about. So this time, same but different. Inhale to arch, exhale to flatten, and then press down into the feet to lift the hips. Exhaling, placing the spine down bone by bone in order. Lovely. Inhale to arch at the bottom, exhale to tuck down, and then lifting up. And whenever we're doing these movements, we're not looking to come into the biggest possible shape that we can. We're looking to move within our own range of movement for that day. And that varies each day. We send our body into different shapes each day. We hold different tension within our body each day. So find where you are today. It doesn't matter where that is. Lovely. From here, feet lengthening out, legs straight, arms above the head. Reach the right hand away, right toes away, left hand away, left toes away. Lovely. One more time on each side. So stretching through one side and then through the other. And then knees into the chest. So from here, we can gently shift side to side. Maybe make a few little circles in one direction, a few little circles in the other. And then bring either knees to the side or a little bit of rocking and rolling on a Thursday morning. Lovely. We're going to make our way up to seated when you're ready. Really nice. So this is what I meant about tilt to the pelvis. So for some people, they'll naturally be kind of tucking back here. And that's because of the tilt to the pelvis. So you might want to, if your body naturally does that, wedding photos, found a use for them. And a Nerf gun bullet just popped out as well. So you might find a book just helps us give that tilt, that lift into the pelvis. Lovely. Anyway, so from here, breathing in to lift up, exhaling to twist, inhaling to rise, exhaling, twisting around. Let's do one more on each side. Doesn't matter how far we get, we're just looking for gentle mobilization, that unsticking that naturally happens within the body. And then we'll do some sideways movements. So the right hand can come down, left arm up. If we want to, any discomfort in the shoulders, we can bring the hand onto the lower back. So still getting that nice stretch, but without kind of ragging through the shoulders. So feel your way through it. Where feels right for me. Arm reaching up or hand onto the lower back. You choose. Lovely. So a couple more breaths here. I feel better already, right? So if you want to, you can stop the video here if you're watching on demand and you're sorted for the day. You've sent your spine in every single direction that's available to it. Lovely. Now let's come on to all fours. I'm going to put the wedding photos away for a moment. Spread the fingers wide, shift side to side. We can come forwards, we can come back. We can start to circle around the wrists again. Give the wrists a little bit of love. Lovely. And then start to tuck the tailbone only. And then lift the tailbone only. Tiny, tiny movement. So the moment that the lower ribs want to join in, that's when we stop. Exactly the same as what we were doing when we were lying down, just a different relationship to gravity. Tuck, roll, let that movement travel, head is heavy, and then reverse that ripple as the belly drops through. Lovely. So rather than hinging into the shoulders, hinging into the hips, we're rippling along the spine, getting every single vertebra, which is capable. Every single vertebra is capable of movement. Doesn't mean it necessarily does, but it is capable of movement if we allow that. Lovely. So from here, we're going to tuck the toes under. Lift the knees. Lovely. Press the sit bones high and then step or walk to the top of the mat. Rise with a flat back. Exhale to fold. Press down, reaching down into the feet, lifting tall, and hands by the sides. So there's a little bit of the headless yoga here, but you're not missing much. Breathing in to lift. Exhale, swan dive, lifting up and out of the pelvis. Knees can stay soft. Breathing in, lift halfway, flat back, hands down, feet back. Lovely, arriving in plank. Really nice. From here, we're going to lower with as much or as little control as you like, all the way onto the belly. Really nice. Superman. Hands away, maybe the legs away. Lick on their hands. Lovely. Hands under the shoulders, pressing back into child's pose. Tuck the toes under, lift the sit bones high. We can pedal through the feet. Really nice. Reacquainting ourselves. Hello, downward facing dog. So nice to see you. When you're ready, step and walking to the top of the mat, rise with the flat back. On the out breath, we fold. Press down into the feet, lifting tall, hands above the head. And exhaling, swan dive down. Let's carry on. Breathing in, lift halfway, flat back. Hands down, feet back. Lower as you wish, knees down or knees lifted. Really nice. Skydiver, in fact, not Superman. Skydiver. Arms away, legs away. Really nice. Hands under the shoulders, pressing back, rippling through the spine, almost child's pose. Tuck the toes under, sit bones lift. Pedaling through, lovely. Stepping, walking to the top of the mat, rise with a flat back. Exhale to fold. Press down into the feet, lifting tall. And hands by the side, bending into the knees, arms parallel to the ears, chair pose. Exhale to fold. Left foot back, left knee down, right arm lifts. Lovely, let's swap around. Right hand down, left arm lifts. Really nice. One more time on each side. An option as well to find the hand onto the lower back as well. Any discomfort into the shoulders, always an option to play with. Hands down, feet back, finding plank. Navel through the spine, lifting up, downward dog. Right leg lifts, right foot to the top of the mat. And we rise. Really nice. Option to have the back knee down or to stay lifted. Reaching, side reach, doesn't matter which side. Find side reach on the other side. Really nice, hands to shoulders, let's find that twist. Breathing in and exhaling. Hands down, feet back. Stepping back into downward dog. Right leg lifts, right foot to the top of the mat, left knee down. Press through that left knee, reach up rather than forwards. So reaching up, 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 as if you're trying to get the ribs all the way up to the ceiling. And then maybe we start to release the hips down, perhaps. Lovely, hands coming down. Step back into downward dog. From here, step, walk, jump to the top of the mat, rise with a flat back. Exhale to fold. Press down into the feet. Chair pose. Lovely, hands into the chest to lift. Let's do the same on the other side. Breathing in. Exhaling to fold. This time, right foot back. Right knee down. Either hand to the lower back to find that spinal rotation, or the arm lifts up. And let's do two on each side. So connect the movement with your breath, whatever pace that happens to be. Really nice. Step back into plank. Lower knees down or knees lifted. Skydiver. Arms away, maybe legs away. Hands onto the shoulders, rippling through. Almost child's pose, tuck the toes. Downward dog. And we breathe. Lovely, this time left leg lifts. Left foot to the top of the mat. Option to bring that right knee down or to rise, you choose. From here, side reaching. And side reach to the other side. We'll find that spinal rotation, hands to the shoulders, let's twist. Again, like we did last summer. Lovely. Hands come down. Step back into down dog. Pedal through the feet. Left leg lifts again. Left foot forwards. Right knee down this time. We're going to reach up. And again, option, if there's any discomfort in the shoulders, have hands onto the lower back. And we're looking to get that length, heart lifting up, the ribs slowly rising, all the hands can lift, and then we can maybe ease forwards. Lovely. Hands come down. Let's step back into downward dog. Step, walk, jump, shimmy to rise with a flat back. On the out breath, we fold. Bend into the knees, chair pose. Hands into the chest. Awesome, guys, really nice. So from here, we're going to lift the right leg. So left foot onto the floor, right leg lifts. Circle into that right ankle, lovely. And then start to circle into that right knee. Awesome. Find a point in front of us that isn't moving, often called a drishti, focal point within yoga. And we can find our tree, calf, ankle, maybe thigh. None of those options is any better or worse than the other. The trick here in our tree pose is to press the standing foot into the standing leg in the same way that we press the hands together. Lovely. And then get that sense of pressing down into that left foot to rise. Really nice. One more breath here. And we're going to step that right foot out to the side. Turn both toes out, breathing in to straighten the legs. Exhaling, elbows out to the side. Lovely, breathing in, exhaling. Lovely, two more, breathing in and out. Last one, inhaling and out. Now turn it towards that right foot, and I'm going to turn this way so I can see my little stick man. Stick man who stick man. So we want to be at the point where our right foot is not kind of super lungy. We can easily get that right foot down. Hands can be onto the hips or onto opposite elbows. Lift the heart and then exhale to ease forwards. Breathing in to lift. Exhaling forward. So you'll probably start to feel this into the right left calf, perhaps. Notice if that right hip starts to travel back or forwards. Lovely. And then from here, hands onto that front knee, the right knee. One hand above, one hand below the knee. Bend forwards and then back. Bending forwards and then back. See if we can get that same sense of the heart lifting as we just had just now. Really nice. And then we can straighten that leg. And we want to come to the point where we can lift the tailbone and then tuck. Lift the tailbone and then tuck. So I often bring my hands onto my body because that helps me get feedback of what's happening with it. But you might want to just keep your hands where they are on your knee. You choose. Lovely. So from here, we're going to step the feet wide. And I'm going to turn around again. So I've not got my posterior to you. Toes in, heels out, hands down. Let's find that rotation. Twist to one side and twist to the other. Lovely. One more on each side. Lovely. And then turn both toes out. We're going to bend the right knee, travel over to the right. Bend the left, over to the left. Same options as we have played with before here. We can keep the hands down. We can have the hands into the chest. Or we can do our silver surfer if we want. See if we can stay low. Lovely. Next time we come over to the right knee, bend the right knee down. Hands forward, shift forwards and back. Forwards and back. Last time here. Let's come back. We're going to lift the left toes up and then down. Left toes up and down. Last time, left toes up and down. Really nice. Traveling around now towards his left foot. Stepping to the top of the mat and we rise. So this time weight into the right foot. Stand back a bit. Left leg lifts, circling the left toes. Lovely. Let's let that left knee join in as well. Oiling up. Good morning. Good morning. Left hip. Nice to see you. Really nice. You can bring heel to the ankle to the heel, calf or to the thigh. And again, press. Get that sense of pressing and lifting. So often in yoga, we call this rooting to rise. We root down, get that energy from that grounding into the earth to lift up, get that strength. Really nice. From here, step that left foot out to the side, toes out, breathing in to lift up, elbows out to the side, breathing in and out. Inhaling, exhaling, lovely. Bend over to the left knee. And then over to, right, oh no, we missed out our little stick man, didn't we? Never mind. We'll come back to that in a minute. Lovely. So next time we come over to the left leg. In fact, next time we come over to the right leg, step the left foot to join us. We're going to step the right foot back this time. Hands on, to begin with, hands either onto the hips or onto opposite elbows. Lifting up, exhaling forwards. Inhaling and exhaling, lovely. So we're not coming forwards as far as we possibly can. We're not doing a big forward fold. We're getting that sense of that lift into the heart here. Then the hands come on above the knee, one under, bend forwards and back, and forwards and back. This time as we come back, send the attention into the lower back. So we lift and tuck down, lift and down. Lifting and down, lovely. And then step the feet wide, toes in, heels out, hands down. Let's find that twist. One more on each side, rotating through the spine, really nice. Again, option to have the hand onto the lower back. Really nice. Now we bend over towards that left knee. Really nice. And then bend over towards the right. Same options as before, hands stay down. Hands into prayer or silver surfer. Awesome, guys. Next time we come over to the left knee down. Hands forwards. Shift the weight forwards and then back. Forwards and then back. So we start to snake our way around these muscles in the inside of the right thigh. Let's keep the sit bones back this time. Right toes lift and then down and then lift and down. Last time, lifting and then down. Awesome. Finding ourselves in kneeling, we want to tuck the toes under. So toes tuck under, spread the toes as wide as we can. See if we can even get the little toe in contact with the ground. And sit back as far as is comfortable. For some, that will be here. For others here, for others here. This is about plantar flexion. So it's about the flexibility we've got in the soles of our feet. And that will vary for all of us. Really nice. So let's bring our hands onto the shoulders. See if we can find that slight scooping. So we're not kind of tucking it under as far as we can. Just a slight kind of forwards, backwards, and then find your midpoint. Hands onto the shoulders, let's reach back. Breathing in to come forwards. Exhaling back. So you might want to play around with your matrix here. You might want to play around with the placement of the feet. So toes together, knees wide. Notice how that feels. Maybe slightly different in the body. So we're accessing slightly different muscles there. So we're using the glutes to lift here. And if we externally rotate into the thighs, we can access the glutes a little bit more. Lovely. Last one. And then coming down, hands down. Right foot forwards, left foot tucks. Bring the weight of the torso onto that front thigh. We're reaching the head forwards, we're reaching that back leg back. Lift through that back knee. So this is a psoas stretch into the hip flexor, which links through from the back, lower back all the way around, and it wraps onto the front of the thigh bone. Incredible muscle. So pause here, let the head catch up with where the body's got to. One more breath here. Lovely. And then back knee down. Same as before, hands onto the lower back, or we can reach up. Reach up, 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 and then maybe start to ease forwards a little bit. Lovely, but it's height rather than down that we're looking for. Very technical term, Esther, well done. Hands can come down. Really nice. Let's step back. Left foot forwards. Place the torso, the weight of the whole of the torso onto that left thigh. Lift that right knee. So we're drawing in two directions. We can get the crown of the head forwards, right foot back. Really nice. And then maybe start to sink the weight down a little bit in the center. Awesome. From here, back knee down. Same options, hands onto the lower back, or we lift up. You choose. And then ease. Awesome. Stepping back, we're going to come into our stability. So, coming into plank, zipping up through the midline. So I'm making the assumption that you know the breath here. We breathe in, exhaling. Lovely. So we find ourselves in our plank. We're going to lift the right leg, and the right leg comes down. Left leg lifts, left leg down. And we're doing all of this without anything else moving. So imagine that I've placed, be very mean of me, but that I've placed a glass of water, or even something that you might care about a bit more, GNT or something, onto your hips. And nothing moves as we lift. See if we can keep that straight line. Crown of the head, shoulders, hips. Really nice. When you've done the same amount on both sides, knees wide, sit back, child's pose. Awesome, guys. Let's come forward one more time. So, setting up into our plank. Knees lift. There's always the option to do all of this with the knees down, by the way, as well. So we can lift one leg and the other. Lovely. So this time coming onto the forearms. Forearm plank. And we probably want to have the fists onto the ground. Find that lift. We're going to lift one arm and then the other. One arm lifts and then down. Other arm lifts And then down, lovely. Without spilling your water or your G&T or your smoothie, kale smoothie, whatever is going to motivate you the most to keep everything where it is. Really nice. Last one, I promise. And then knees wide, toes together. Coming back. Awesome. From here, right knee behind the right wrist. Left foot steps back. Let's come into our pigeon. I'm sure I've mentioned before, one of my teachers makes us, whenever we come into pigeon, she makes us make the sound of a pigeon because it's really hard to be tense when you're making the sound of a pigeon or when you're laughing at the thought of it. And laughter is so good. I know, it often sounds like I'm not taking some of this stuff seriously, but I think it's because our muscles, our body need that release. They respond to that. They respond to that lightness. So finding that lightness, we can shift side to side. We can get low, we can come onto the forearms or maybe onto the flat pancake version. So find where it feels good for you today. And then let's step back. So the left toes tuck under. We're going to swap round. So we might do that through downward dog or in any other variation. Left knee now behind the left wrist. Right foot steps back. And again, traditionally, this is taught, believe it or not, with the leg right up here in line with the front of the mat. Now, that is just not going to happen in my body. So feel where it needs to go. For some of us, having it in line with the top of the mat, awesome. But as I've said so many times, our hips vary. Bony variation in our hips is massive. So find where it feels better. I find it quite much nicer kind of into the center. And then I can find that gentle rock. Maybe get low. If you want to make the sound of a pigeon, you're on mute anyway, so no one will know. It's your little LifeSport women secret. And we breathe. Lovely. From here, we're going to make our way down to lying. So getting our belt or strap or anything that we've managed to find, make our way onto lying. To begin with, left foot onto the floor, right knee into the chest, and we circle around. Lovely, circling around in both directions. Again, just a nice little polite conversation with the hip. And then from here, maybe we want to hug that right knee into the chest and then draw the hand as far down the leg as possible, maybe onto the foot. Or if we're not finding that in our body today, hug that thigh as close into the chest as possible and then find the strap to loop around the sole of the foot. So we're keeping that knee in towards the shoulder or the armpit and then use the hands to draw that foot down. Lovely. We can bring the heel to the sit bones and then lift and then down and then lift. Or we can be doing all of this with hands if we want to. None of it is better or worse. Sometimes just playing around with different options, even if it's just for one day, you suddenly get that kind of penny dropping moment where it's like, I get that. I get that feeling, that connection with my body. So find where that is for you today and then find stillness. And we breathe. Conversation, whole conversation with the hamstring. And how we think, I know I sound like a total hippie, but Man U football club's yoga teacher talked about this as well. Our body responds to our thoughts. Our body is always listening. So rather than thinking about, it feels really tight, think how strong it is. Think how incredible that hamstring is. Thank you, hamstring. You are amazing. Thank you so much for bringing me through all of this sport and life so far. You are absolutely amazing. And then we can soften. Sounds weird, but it's true. If a non-hippie yoga teacher tells you that, then it's definitely true. We can bring the hand onto the left knee this time, circle around. So yeah, Sarah Ramsden, premier football club yoga teacher, circling around in the other direction. And you know, we think it's so weird. Like we think about if we do a core class where I was like, oh, I really feel that. And we kind of feel a bit proud about it, don't we? Like, yeah, I can really feel there's work there. And yet anywhere else in the body, if we go, oh, I'm really feeling it there, it's always like a sense of kind of nervousness of like, oh, I really shouldn't have done that. So funny how our brains work. So this time again, hug that left knee into the chest. Maybe we bring the strap onto the sole of the foot. Maybe we find the hands onto the lower leg. We can bring the heel to the sit bone, and then we can lift, and then easing down, and then lifting, easing down, and then lift, and then find that point where we can just pause. Again, how strong is my body? Not tight, not oh. So obviously there's a balance between listening to feedback from the body, but some of the labels that we start to place onto those are so judgmental, and there's such power in the language that we associate with these things. So just listen, just observe the response within the body, within the thoughts, within the breath. Lovely. And then slowly releasing. So from here, we're going to make our way into Shavasana. Because it is a shorter class, I'm going to end the recording here, but I would encourage you to take time to relax. Scan down the body. You know the score. Check in with the body. Maybe slightly tuck the chin in. Choose where you want to place the body to be still for a few breaths. See if you can start to slightly lengthen the out breath so that it's longer than the in breath. Brilliant. I'm going to stop the recording here. Guys, you have been amazing as always. I look forward to seeing you guys very